This is Greg from T1D3Dgear.com with a little how-to video. I had an old 27-inch monitor that I wanted to turn into kind of a digital display so that we could see my son's glucose numbers really big from across the room. And so there wasn't really a way to do that in Nightscout, and plus I wanted some other information up there. So I ran across this site called DAC boards that allow you to create these digital displays and get different information in there. And hidden behind here is a little Raspberry Pi, which is just running a web browser. And so this is a full-screen web browser. And so it's got the time, it's got the local weather, it's got a calendar for the pump site changes and DEX changes. And then I wanted a really big screen here with the glucose number. And then I also wanted some other information, the delta, insulin on board, and carbs on board. But I also like seeing the graph, and I like seeing so we can kind of see the long-term trends. And then I travel a lot, so my wife wanted to have clocks for Tokyo and Paris so she can tell what time it is where I'm at. So how you put this together, because there's been some questions about this, and it's not elegant, but it does work. If you go to dacboard.com and create an account, you can create a custom screen. One of the first things you want to do is go into settings and defaults, and if you click on that, make sure your time zone is set correctly and the time format you want. You can change some other settings here. Then you get to the layout, and just like Photoshop, all of these different blocks and elements, they're all on layers. So you can, let's say, take this fetch, and I can move this backwards. Now, if I moved it there, it would disappear because it would be behind the big DEX, this big DEX number. If I move it forward, it's going to sit on top of that. So using that, I kind of use it to mask a couple of different blocks. So this big DEX number, that's the big green 156 from the previous picture. The graph is actually the native Nightscout site, the website, and I'm just masking off the top portion of it by putting the big green number on top of it, and I'm masking off the bottom portion of it. Not real elegant, but that's the only way that I could get the graph. So, how you get your different Nightscout information is if you add a block, you've got this option for website or iframe. And you would put it in, size it however you want. And one thing I will point out, you can preview, but you always want to be previewing on the screen it's going to display on. Because if I were to preview this on this screen, well, looks like somebody needs a little bolus there. If you preview on this screen, it looks a whole lot different than it actually does on the display, just because of the aspect ratio is different. So we'll go back in here and stay at home. Okay, so you can move stuff backwards and forwards using the layers. And for the big DEX number, if you edit this, the website is your URL and then /clock-color.html. And it's pretty simple. The Nightscout site would just be your Nightscout site for the Nightscout graph down there. For the extra information, Kate Farnsworth was great. She answered a question for me a couple months ago because I was trying to figure out how do I just pull the insulin on board information or just the delta number. And so you use another block called external data JSON. And click on that. And you would edit that information, and what it's going to come up with is you put in your URL, which is your Nightscout site /API/v2/properties. And once you get to that point, it's going to display, it's going to give you the choice of pulling whatever data you want, whether it's insulin on board, blood glucose, or whatever, and you can just check whichever box you want. And how you want it displayed. You can also set the icon for the number, so I used a syringe for the insulin and an apple for the carbs. And that is pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. Hopefully that answers your questions and helps you guys along. If you have any other questions, please hit me up, and I'm happy to help anybody. And if you haven't had a chance, check us out on Facebook or Instagram, T1D3dgear.com. We've got some 3D prints for insulin vials and stuff that I invented. Keep that liquid gold safe. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll talk to you later.